Happy Friday, everyone. This is a quick live to go over the legal representation that I found for Shanquella Robinson. Okay, I've been seeing this article before from Essence discussing Shanquella and the legal representation, but I didn't see any other information on it. And so I didn't really go over it, but I'll go over it today because I did find some additional information to confirm this information. Okay. Oh yeah, I'm trying to, hey Bossy, I'm trying to definitely keep this alive and keep her name going and keep it in the media and on social media. So that's definitely what I am trying to do. As I stated yesterday, let me go ahead and actually share the petition link, because that I found out that once if I share at the beginning of every live, then it will increase signatures faster. So let me go ahead and share that link. So the quick way to share the link, I remember, is that I added a short URL, and it's called change.org/Shanquella. That's all you have to actually, I don't have a mod here to delete this. Anyways, sometimes in StreamYard, it won't let me post a large link. So let me go ahead and put change.org. But ignore that last post I just did. I have to go on my phone or computer to delete it. So let me go ahead and put this on here. So yeah, it's change.org/Shanquella. I'm not even sure. So if you have not signed this petition, go right ahead and sign it and share it. Okay. Hey Valerie. Hey Valerie. Hey Paula. Yes, go ahead and hit the like button. Since you're already here, go ahead and hit the like button. A dang shame, I have been hearing lots of stuff. What is it? I just updated the title. I'm just going over the legal representation, the lawyer that is supposedly allegedly for Shanquella Robinson based on an interview I found and also an article. So I'm going to go over it briefly because I actually have another live scheduled in 15 minutes. So this is just going to be a quick update, and I will post a link to the full interview because this is another YouTuber's information. She did an interview with the lawyer representing Shanquella Robinson's family. So I will post a link to her channel. I love that you haven't forgotten. You already read this. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to the article. Okay, so basically, maybe a little while ago, I saw this article from Essence, and in the article it stated, let me go down. And let me zoom in so y'all can see clearly, because I like to always zoom in and make sure people can see what I'm talking about. Okay, let me zoom in a little bit more because I like to make sure y'all all can see what I'm talking about. That should be big enough, right? Yeah, ooh, this is big enough. So let me go ahead and take this comment down. Hey, Annie. Okay, so it says right here. Let me go down. It says the legal advocate of the family. It says legal advocate of the family, Sue Ann Robinson, no relation, because a lot of times, people get crazy when they see the same last name. Sue Ann Robinson, no relation, her law partner, civil rights attorney Ben Crump, and activist Tamika Mallory have worked alongside the family to compel legal action. So basically, I need to stop smacking my lips like that. I don't know why I got into this habit. Well, the first thing you do is you acknowledge that you have an issue, and then from there you can work on it, right? So I see that now I'm starting to smack my lips, and I don't want to do that. Okay. I just about to do it again, but I stopped myself. See, it's working. Okay. The legal advocate of the family, Sue Ann Robinson, no relation, her law partner, civil rights attorney Ben Crump, and activist Tamika Mallory have worked alongside the family to compel legal action. So that's the legal advocate of the family is Sue Ann Robinson. So I saw this article a while back, but then I couldn't find anything else. I did reach out to Sue Ann at the time, the Crump law firm. I'm sure everyone heard of Ben Crump by now. And I didn't really get a response from them, right? But then I just forgot about updating y'all on it. Until today, I was like, well, let me actually check and see if there are any updates on the legal representation. Oh yeah, so this was posted November 30th. So this was a while back when I saw this information. So let me go ahead and go to the interview. Okay, I'm going to link this YouTuber's channel to the description box or the comments, probably just a chat box, right? So what is the name of this channel? Is That Legal? Girl, Is That Legal? I guess that's the name of the channel. So if you want to watch the full interview, because I'm only going to play a snippet, it says, Girl, Is That Legal? And it says, interview with Shanquella Robinson's family attorney, Sue Ann Robinson, straight from the source. And this was December 8th, 2022. So, yeah, so this is the family attorney representing the family, right? And also, I knew I recognized Simone. This is a person for the YouTuber. She was on the show Ready to Love, and I'm like, I remember that face. I remember the hair. Yeah, I remember hairdos, honey. Hunty, don't ask me how, but okay. So, anyways, I remember this person. So, yeah, she was on Ready to Love, and I'm actually kind of behind on that show. Okay, I'm getting sidetracked. Well, anyway, she was on show Ready to Love, and even in this interview, Sue Ann, she actually states that she will be actually on the upcoming season of Ready to Love for Miami, right? So she made sure that her app handle on Twitter, it says not just a lawyer. So she's making sure, hey, I'm not just a lawyer. I don't know what all she does, but she is also going to be on Ready to Love. So I guess that's probably how these two met, is because of the association with the show Ready to Love. Okay. So anyways, let's go ahead and dive into the interview. I'm going to play some of it, and then I will give you the link to the video.
All right. So, welcome to another episode of Girl, Is That Legal? I'm supposed to be pulling you out, girl. Let me remove her and then I can introduce her. But I wanted to welcome you to another episode of Girl, Is That Legal? Today, we're going to be talking with attorney Sue Ann Robinson. Attorney Sue Ann is the legal advocate for the family of Shanquella Robinson. And she is literally fresh off the plane from Mexico, where, of course, she was working on their case. And she's going to speak with us, answer a few questions, and we're going to be able to find out straight from the source what's really going on and how we can support the family. So I'm going to run the countdown to give everyone a chance to join. Oh, my eyelashes are already falling off. Let's get the countdown going. And then, here we go. Just want to give people a chance to come.
Sister-in-law.
Well,
in the law.
Thank you. She's referring to my new engagement. I'm still getting used to it. Definitely still getting used to it.
Well, she also probably is talking about how they are sisters in the law, like they are both lawyers, right? As you can see, Simone, she's an attorney, and then she's also an attorney, right? So it's sisters in the law, but I guess she twisted it into something else. But it also could mean that. I'm just saying.
Yeah, there's so much to talk about on that one. And actually, he and I started a separate channel to follow our relationship journey. That's my fiance Rashid, and that channel is called Ready to TWO, Ready to Wed. This is located if it's in one of the areas that she practices. If it's your career in Florida, is that correct?
I did. As
Yes.
a prosecutor.
And did you work with Ben Crump when you were like a younger baby attorney, or how did that relationship come about?
That relationship came about. Definitely, I was the president of a bar association, and right when Trayvon Martin happened, and I brought him down here to kind of garner the Black legal community to support him, support the case, support the family, and that's how we initially met 12 years ago. And so I would say maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, he asked me to be of counsel for his firm. Really, just when he was kicking off a national civil rights practice. I resisted at first, but if you've ever met Ben, he's very convincing, very motivating, and of course, extremely inspirational. And at that time in my career, I definitely was looking to do something more for us. So it was a great opportunity to do well and do good. So
basically, she has her own law firm, but she also works at like a co-counsel, or she works at the law firm Benjamin Crump as well.
So I never looked back.
That's fantastic. And you mentioned that you are of counsel. Can you describe what that means?
Of counsel to a firm means that you are essentially a co-counsel. You work with the firm for a majority of cases, but I still have my own law practice here based in South Florida.
Awesome. Yes. And her law firm is called Frontline Law. Frontline Law. And she's actually the founder of Frontline Law. So definitely Google that. We'll put the links in the description below as well. So just to get started, let's go ahead and jump into this, because I know, like I said, I know you are tired from your flight and you have so much going on. This has been a busy week for you as well. You may not recognize her from this yet, but Sue-Ann is actually also going to be, can I say it, or do you want to keep it?
You can.
Okay. She is going to be one of the new singles on the upcoming season of Ready to Love Miami.
Right.
Yes. I wish I had my drum beat. Dun, 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 dun. So we're going to get to see if whether Sue-Ann, in addition to balancing these cases, doing this great work, gets to find love as well. Can you give us any hints or clues, Sue-Ann?
You have to tune in. Can't spoilers. Come on.
And that's a dating show on the television network OWN. If you've never seen it, check it out. I was on the show, etc., etc. So we're excited for you for that. Now let's jump into it. Now, there are so many different myths and versions, and honestly, a lot of fake news going on with this case.
Right.
And as a result, I didn't want to jump into it. I was getting a lot of comments, and people were asking me like, hey, are you going to cover it? And I absolutely have wanted to cover it, but I wanted to do it responsibly. And I didn't want to just be one of the bloggers who tries to be the first to release some salacious story that's not true.
Right.
Particularly because I had concerns, and as an attorney, I know how that can impact your ability to get justice when you have to spend so much time fielding questions about fake news, or if there's just information out there that is misleading on your case. So here, can we start with your title and what you've been referred to here as a family advocate? Can you describe, like, what is your role in the case?
Well, right now, there isn't anyone necessarily that Shanquella's family is attempting to sue or file a civil lawsuit against. So our role in the case, the team's role in the case, is just to assist the family as victims of a violent crime as losing a family member overseas, help them through this process. And particularly because obviously Shanquella was a Black woman victim of a crime, those cases totally get swept under the rug. They aren't covered a lot by media, which makes it harder to get justice in these situations, especially overseas. So just making sure that the case is being covered by the media so that it pushes and keeps the pressure on Mexican authorities and authorities in America to thoroughly investigate the case.
Right, because initially in this case, it's my understanding that Mexican authorities were not seeking to bring charges or hadn't even necessarily determined that a crime had occurred. Is that accurate?
So initially,
Okay, if you're just now getting here, as I stated before, this is Sue Ann Robinson. She's actually has a law firm in Florida, but she's representing the family of Shanquella Robinson. And this is an interview, and I already posted a link in the chat for this interview. I'm only going to play a snippet of the interview, and they pretty much go over most of the information in this video is what we've already known about or already know, but I'm just letting everyone know because people were like, does the family have a lawyer? Do they have an attorney? Have they hired anyone? And I'm letting you know it's Sue Ann Robinson. I don't know if Ben Crump is actually helping her with this or not. I don't know if it's through Ben Crump's law firm or through her own law firm because she works at both. Okay.
The Mexican authorities essentially released her body to her family, released the death certificate, and there was nothing because there was no statements or evidence. The people that were with her on the trip essentially came back and told her parents that she passed away from alcohol poisoning. It wasn't until the video came out and the video was actually given to the Mexican authorities, and with all the pressure that was placed on the State Department, et cetera, that the case started to be investigated and the people involved started to be investigated. So initially there wasn't anything other than what the people that were there said, which was, she was having some issue due to alcohol poisoning. And then the video came out, the initial video.
Now, how did that video come out?
One of the parties leaked it.
Okay. Was it on one of their, because I was assuming it looked like a story. So I was assuming that somebody had taken it and posted it to their story. It was, and then perhaps someone else screenshotted it or something like that.
Well, essentially one of the people involved released the video via social media, and then it went viral, obviously.
Okay. I was going to ask if they had released it, for example, to her family in an attempt to help her family find justice. But it sounds like, no, it was simply they released it to social media.
Yeah, I in the case, if you've been following it, which I'm sure you have, there's different people, obviously, that were there. There was 6 people, and they have, released statements, done lives, different interviews on social media. So there was a lot of information out there. It's just a matter of, knowing what's true and what's not true, and what is, what are they saying to kind of protect themselves and what not. I think when there's an active, open investigation into the death of someone that you were with you were the last person that was with them, I think out of respect, the first person that you would want to give information to would be the family. But
absolutely
how it was handled in this case.
Because it seems to me that with the video initially simply being released by, one of the parties that was there to their social media, seems to me like they found it entertaining. Like that was their entertainment. And they were like, hey, let's post this in the way that people post fight videos all the time, because they particularly find the fight interesting.
So is she saying that one of the Cabo 6, that the first time it was actually released was on social media? Like they just recorded a video and then they posted it to social media once they recorded the video? Is that how she's saying that it got out? I was actually thinking like that it was actually sent to someone and then that person posted it or something else. But also, I also don't know if she's privy to information that we don't already know, or is she also seeking answers as well, right? Because a lot of times when the investigation is ongoing, most people don't, even sometimes lawyers don't know certain information. They just know the same information that everyone else does, unless it's like something that their client tells them that was not told to the public.
Including, when I watched it, it seemed like it was the person recording who actually was saying to Shanquella, "Come on, get up, fight back." Was that your understanding from listening to it?
There is some audio where they're saying you're not going to hit back. My opinion, obviously, because I wasn't there and I haven't spoken to the parties, is that if the way that this crime happened and the way that kind of the story was given to Shanquella's family, there had to be some guilty conscience there. And I think sometimes if you're not you, but groups that are involved in something like this, the bigger the group, the bigger the possibility that someone is going to tell or information is going to get out. So
Right.
I don't know if it was for entertainment. I think what happened was absolutely demonic in terms of the way that she was beaten, the way that the person in the background is recording it, the way that they're talking to her, the fact that any person would have to lose their life in this way when they're on a vacation is horrible.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
but in terms of the motivation for releasing the video, might have been, guilty conscience.
Got you. And when you say, I'm sorry, I just want to clarify. By release, you're saying releasing it to social media, not releasing it to the family?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Got you. I understand. And were there two videos? One of the bloggers are reporting.
So they are saying right here in this interview. Now, I'm just playing this video. I'm not saying I agree with anything or anything. I'm just going by this video. So they are basically saying that the first release of the video was to social media, not to someone, but to social media. But who released it to social media? That's the question. Like, who posted it to social media? Are they saying like one of the Cabo 6 posted to social media, or did they send one of the Cabo 6 send it to someone and then that person posted it to social media? So that's still kind of unanswered.
That there's a second video out there.
There's another video. Well, there's multiple videos because there's all the other videos that the other parties made post showing their plane tickets and their movements and all that stuff. But there's a second video kind of just showing Shanquella's like her own video recording kind of the villa and of the overall mood, and you kind of get the vibe and understanding that she was there to kind of have a good time.
Yeah, exactly.
Was in a perfectly good mood prior
Were
to
there
this.
any other fight videos?
No, there haven't been other fight videos released.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, because that was part of the area that was like particularly questionable, where we weren't sure at all what was going on. Now, another part of it is, so there was there's the various different videos, and one of the videos was, I know I'm mispronouncing his name, but I believe the guy was like Najir was one of the guys who was there, but basically it was one of her friends, and he was claiming that he wasn't there when any of this happened. What's your understanding?
My understanding from the family are that only one of the individuals that was there, which was a male, was her actual friend. The other people she was meeting or were acquaintances with, but they weren't like her travel buddies or like her homegirls or anything like that. That only one of the male people that was attending the trip was an actual friend that she knew from home.
Got you. Okay. And how do you pronounce his name? I was pronouncing it wrong, I'm sure.
Nahid. Sorry.
Okay, gotcha. Well, as we mispronounce it, we all know who we're talking about. It's like Najir was one of the guys who was there.
Okay, yeah, we all know that they are talking about Nazir, right? As the one that was not there. And I actually looked at his flight tickets and everything else, his flight times. He was not actually there until the next day. Also, as far as the being another video, I actually do believe that Winter, who was standing next to Malik, and when his phone actually pans over to the right and shows her on the phone, I actually do believe that there's probably some other recording, but she might have deleted it or whatever happened to it. I don't know what happened to it. I don't think it has been released to the public, but I do think that she was still recording it, because we only saw that he stopped recording. We don't know if she stopped recording, right? Or what was happening on her end with her device, right?
There, but basically it was one of her friends, and he was claiming that he that he wasn't there when any of this happened. What's your understanding?
My understanding from the family are that only one of the individuals that was there, which was a male, was her actual friend. The other people she was meeting or were acquaintances with, but they weren't like her travel buddies or like her homegirls or anything like that. That only one of the male people that was attending the trip was an actual friend that she knew from home.
Got you. Okay. And how do you pronounce his name? I was pronouncing it wrong, I'm sure.
Nahid. Sorry.
Okay.
Also, notice how she keeps on saying the family said, the family said, the family said, the family said. So it's clear that, to me, her source of information that she has right now is she's getting information from the family. She has not said like the FBI said, it's the attorneys, the state attorney said, the DA said. She has not said any of those things, or the mayor said, or the governor said. She's only saying the family said, the family said. So a lot of times you can pick up on who someone's source of information is by who they keep on like referring to or sourcing back to, right, as their source.
Okay, gotcha. Well, as we mispronounce it, we all know who we're talking about.
Right.
Mm-hmm. In addition, so there was a lot of the kind of fake news and the discussions have stemmed from a particular journalist, Mexican journalist, who was claiming that he has this inside source. I believe his name is Gerardo or something along those lines. One of the things that he claimed is that he saw or was given some police report, and that's where a portion of his reporting was coming from. Have you ever seen this police report that he's allegedly?
There is a report that was completed by an investigator.
Okay.
It doesn't have much details other than saying that statements were taken, what time the ambulance came, what time the medic came. So I'm not sure specifically what the journalist was saying.
Okay, I think he's full of lies. Okay, so let me give you a
okay.
One of the things that this crazy person said, I won't say he's crazy, but he's probably is. One of the things that he was saying is that part of the reason that that Shanquella was in a fight with Dejanay, or how you say her name, was because Dejanay was transgender. Is that accurate? Have you heard that as being part of the ground for there?
I've heard people saying that the person who was fighting her was a transgender person. I don't, at the end of the day, I don't think that's a reason for a fight. I think a lot of people got confused because in Mexico, when a woman is killed, it's called femicide. Homicide, because that's like a subsection, because they do have like an actual subsection for when women are killed in Mexico, like people who obviously are women, but sometimes maybe people who work in nightlife or human trafficking or something like that. It has their own set of investigators for female homicides, which they call femicide. So I don't know if that's why the kind of rumor started, because they were like,
okay. possibly lost in translation or a misunderstanding of how those laws work. Such as like here, we do have laws that protect, well, they're supposed to protect transgender people and the LGBT, etc. Okay.
But remember that actually got started because they saw her take off her bonnet, and I think they saw her take off her bonnet and something about the wig. I forgot what Gerardo said. That's why the transgender rumors got started. And let's be honest, designated man hands do have a strong jawline and a strong face, right? And like, yeah. So someone actually put this here. It says one of the workers at the villa saw Dejanay take off her wig and walking around with a bald cap. It was actually like a bonnet. And it was unfamiliar to them, so they assumed she was transgender. Yeah, so that was pretty much it. That's why I came up with the transgender thing.
I understand. No, he also discussed that there was an issue with money, and that it was believed that Shanquella had stolen money from the other parties in the house, that or something along those lines. Had you heard any of that as a theory?
No, I didn't hear anything from her family about her steal money or needing to steal any money. As a matter of fact, I think that what was disclosed by the parties to the family when they were calling her mom, when they were still in Mexico, they were saying they were going to take money from her purse to pay for the nurse that came to the room.
I see. Okay. So that may have been where it came from. And there was also a report that Shanquella brought thousands of dollars, perhaps.
Wait a minute. So you're telling me that you brutally beat someone, and then you want to go on their purse to take money out to pay the concierge doctor, to pay the Dr. Carolina to come out to see her, to give her IV for something you know that IV wouldn't fix. Y'all knew IV wouldn't fix what was wrong with her. And then you go on her purse, Shanquella's purse, to pay for it. Like, at least you could have paid for the service. So that is crazy, y'all, right? And they actually went into her purse to take money out to pay that doctor. It was like $150. I can't remember the total amount. Ciao.
$17,000 to their country. Had you heard about that? Is that accurate?
No, I haven't heard that at all. So, yeah. And that there's no record of that. And definitely, I'm sure if she brought that much money through customs, someone would know that.
Right. Exactly. Because through customs, you're supposed to bring under $10,000 unless you declare it, of course. And then the IRS gets involved. But to that end, there's like two of the versions that aren't really making sense. Are that one of the versions discussed that there was a doctor there, and that a doctor had advised calling the ambulance. But then a second version talked about and that the doctor was there all the way through until basically it was determined she wasn't alive, or that the ambulance needed to be called. And then a second version discusses a maid finding her. Did a maid find her deceased or non-responsive?
Essentially, the story is that a medic or a nurse practitioner type person was called to the scene once she was non-responsive.
I see. Okay. After
all the parties, and they attempted to do CPR, etc., and it was to no avail. All the parties were then had to actually leave because they were essentially in a scene where an investigation, they had to remove her and all of that stuff. So whether or not a maid actually found her body is one of those internet comments.
Okay. To address the comments about the doctor, it's a fee for the doctor to come out. If you actually watch my video, I actually talked to one of the concierge that works for Cabo Villas, and he states that a lot of times they will have a doctor come out, but if you have to pay cash. You have to pay cash for the doctor to come out. So it's like paid in cash. But if you actually go to the hospital, then you can probably pay with a card or something like that. But for the on-call doctor to come out, it's usually paid in cash. So they most likely went in her purse to get maybe $150 to pay for the doctor to come out to see her. And that is not like paying a doctor off. That's actually paying for the service of having an IV, because that's what was called for, was for her to have an IV put in or whatever, and fluids for her having alcohol poisoning. So that's why they had to pay the doctor. I know some people believe in the conspiracy that the doctor was paid off. But when I say paid, I mean actually paid for services of having an IV and paying for the doctor being called out to the villa. That's what I mean by paid. Secondly, I did verify that it is a doctor and not a nurse. If you actually go to the Mexican site that I posted before, because it's a lot of information, I can't post it in every video, the same information over and over. But if you go to the Mexican site to check on the licensing for doctors in Mexico, Dr. Carolina, who came out, Ornelas, is a licensed doctor since 2021. Okay, she passed it, and she passed and finished her completing her licensing in 2021. So she is a real doctor. She's not a nurse. The way she's dressed is how she typically dressed, and I show a bunch of pictures of her, and that's her usual dress, but she is a doctor, not a nurse. And she is worked for American Medical Center. Well, not anymore. American Medical Center, not anymore, but she's let go now. And if you call American Medical Center, they will ask you, do you want a doctor to come out? So it's not unusual in Mexico for doctors to make house calls, house visits, concierge doctors. They have a lot of services for that. Okay. Yeah. So what I'm gathering from this interview, which I can't really go over the whole thing, is that she really doesn't have a lot of additional information. She just has what the family has told her, because like everyone else, she's kind of in the dark because the FBI is not giving her information. Other people might not be giving her information, but she will have the information that the family has provided to her. And you know how we all say that they left immediately, right? This is a good point that was just mentioned. Did they also have to leave because now once Shanquella was unalived, right? Now that is a crime scene or an investigation. They would have to investigate that villa. So can they actually stay in that villa and remain in that villa while there's an investigation going on, or there's crime scene investigators being sent out? Because one news article did mention like a crime scene investigation, or people came out to the villa. So I wonder if they actually had to leave because they had to investigate the villa. So I didn't think about that before until they just mentioned it, that that's a possibility for them actually having to leave the villa too. I don't know. I'm just throwing something out there.
Got you.
I'm sure there was someone there, cleaning the room and dealing with those matters. But essentially, the story is that a medic was there. An ambulance actually took her body from the location.
Got you. Okay.
But that none of the people were present for that.
Got you. So we don't know if it was a maid that found her and then decided that a medic should be called. But sorry, let me clarify. Was it like a medic that came over, or was it like a doctor that did house calls that initially was tending to her?
Well, essentially in Mexico, what Shanquella's mom was advised was that they wanted to take her to the hospital because of what was how she was, her responsiveness, and that it was easier or better, less expensive to have a doctor come there as opposed to trying to transport her to a hospital.
Got you. As far as the friend's understanding of the cost, is that right?
The friends relaying the mom, because they were calling and saying, hey, we need money to, move her around and this and that. And then they eventually just called a doctor, nurse. The only reason why I'm using multiple terms is because I don't know the actual person's degrees and how it translates into what they were. But someone in the medical field eventually came, and then an ambulance had to come.
Understood. So, okay, so the friends were in communication, or someone, at least one of the friends, was in communication with her family while they were there and had informed the family that she was basically ill enough that they needed to get her to a hospital. Is that right?
Yes,
Okay, gotcha. Okay. So,
because of the alcohol poisoning.
And what they're referring to was that Dr. Caroline Ornelas came out as like a house call concierge doctor, and that and then Dr. Carolina was actually referred to them by their concierge. I don't know who their concierge was for that night. And then after Carolina, then that's when later on, after it was too late, of course, Winter, when she called 911, that's when Red Cross came out. From Mexico, Red Cross came out. And the thing is, when you're in Mexico and you call 911, the Red Cross comes out. So people are like, why did they choose Red Cross? That's who automatically comes out when you call 911. That's how their service works. And then if you don't know, on my second channel, I go over it, but I already tried to call the paramedic. One of the paramedics standing up is actually a female in that picture, and her name is Mavi Jordan. And I did talk to the receptionist where she works at. Yeah. And Mavi is aware that her pictures are online, standing over Shanquella's body. So she's aware of that.
But then that was dispelled when the actual death certificate came out and said that her back was snapped. Her
got
spine.
you. Understood. Okay, that clarifies that aspect of it. Yeah, because they tried to, part of the indication was that the nurse, that the ambulance had been telling the friends, one of the versions of the ambulance, is that the doctor who did the house calls was telling the friends, hey, she really needs to go to the the hospital. She really needs to get there. And that the friends did not want to bring her. But this actually clarifies and makes more sense that they were basically trying to decide what would be the best way to handle it. Because in that is true that in Mexico, you have to pay in advance. If you want an ambulance to come get you, they make you pay, or you get yourself there. To that end, I'm just another one. So when you were there on the ground, what's the biggest update?
Well, that's actually missing out on a piece because the doctor insisted based on a report that she was telling them to go ahead and get emergency help, and then they refused. They didn't want to. So, and also don't forget, when I had the doctor on my channel, Dr. Valares, who's a medical examiner, he knows about Mexico. He also said that they could get help. It's just like in America, you can get help without the having insurance or whatever else. And don't forget that when they called 911, the paramedics did come out without them paying any money. The paramedics came out from the Red Cross. So it's not really true that you really need money to be seen, because what happens is Dr. Valares said they will, just like in America, they will see you, and then once they see you or take care of your needs, then they will work on arrangements for you paying them. So that's not true that they won't help you in emergency situations. We already established that already. So that's just an excuse. Because like I said, eventually at the end, they ended up calling 911, but it was too late. So they could have already called hours before then, before it was too late. They just didn't want to, in my opinion.
Like, what are the main facts that basically you discovered that clarify some of, I guess, generally the questions that most people have had surrounding the case?
I think most of the questions that people have surrounding the case is, why hasn't anybody been arrested? Why hasn't, there's a video, it shows that there's foul play, that there was a fight involved, and that she ended up dead. So these people should obviously just be brought into custody. But even though an arrest,
you broke up just a little bit. Can you say that again, that last part?
Because the event occurred in another country, there are some added barriers that have to be resolved before they can just go pick the people up. That's why if anyone who follows Tamika Mallory and Until Freedom, who's part of the team, she posted saying, you know, please tag the State Department because they issued a statement initially saying there was no foul play. Please tag the senators. Please write letters and call the embassy to put pressure on the State Department, because they have to essentially permit Mexican authorities to take the people out of America in order to, which is called extradition, for them to be tried, investigated, questioned, etc. in Mexico. And so that piece has not occurred yet.
And initially, so there's are some bloggers who are saying that someone has already been arrested. That's not true, correct?
No, an arrest warrant has been issued.
Yeah, just the warrant has been issued, but the person has not been taken into custody. And that is because this extradition process that you just described, it takes a while, correct?
Yes, and the person who's being extradited has the right to have an attorney. They have a right to fight the extradition. So even when they are taken into custody, then there could be additional time because they have their right to kind of contest the extradition and ask to be tried here as opposed to in Mexico. So it does add a layer of complication that we're dealing with an international crime, essentially.
Got you. And at this point, there's only one arrest warrant that's been issued, not two, correct?
Right. One.
Okay. Just one, you guys, not two. No one has been arrested. Or taken into custody. And it's going to be a long time for them to even do so, because I am certain. Now we think that it's Dejanay. Are you allowed to say who it is that the warrant was issued for?
Well, I don't know.
Oh, okay. You're not sure of it either. Right. Got you. Well, I think most of us assume that it's Dejanay because of the fact that she's the one in the video that's fighting Shanquella. But even still, she's going to get a chance to hire a lawyer and to fight it. But most importantly, I'm pretty sure she don't want to go to prison in Mexico and doesn't want to have to fight her case in Mexico. So she probably do her best to keep it to stay here in America. Whereas I did read that the family would prefer that the culprits, everyone that involved that, killed their daughter, that they would get tried in Mexico. Is that right? They prefer Mexico?
Yeah, that came from Gerardo when he said that Dejanay was arrested. And that's when he lost a lot of credibility, because that's like big news, right? That was like a big update and big news. People were excited about it and like, oh my gosh, yay, she finally got some justice. And then as it turns out, she wasn't arrested. So he really lost a lot of credibility, and he has not really came back from that. And then the second time he lost credibility when he said that there was a video out of Winter or Elise or a female coming from the back room. They came in and they intervened, and they intervened. So everyone was like, "Oh, which one intervened?" So that also came from Gerardo. So those two things are like big things that came from him. So he's trying to come back from that. So he has had some credible things since then, y'all. That picture of Shanquella that he posted of her on the floor in the villa, that was actually real. He actually met recently with the state attorney Daniel De La Rosa Naya, Baja California Sur. So he obviously has connections, at least with that state attorney that issued that warrant. And he also has some kind of connection to get that picture that of Shanquella, like that, with the paramedics and the Dr. Carolina on the floor looking over her body. And he also had the unofficial police report. So he has some things that are credible and some things that obviously are not credible.
I don't know how accurate that is.
Okay.
I think a lot of times, especially with super emotional situations, especially this type of situation where the culprits or the parties or the people involved actually went to the home of the mom and gave her, a story that now in hindsight obviously was incorrect details, incorrect facts. I think that it's easy. You want whatever you think is worse, the worst punishment, or the highest punishment, the most justice for losing your child in such a violent and horrific way. So I could see why they would think Mexico would be worse versus the United States and things like that. But I think part of the issue too is that if it's in Mexico, obviously they're going to have to go to Mexico to kind of, to view it and to see it and to
That's
make
true.
sure and things like that. So that makes it a little difficult logistically. I think that as long as there's a thorough investigation done, that the two countries are coordinating in terms of the investigation and that it is not being swept under the rug, then my job is being done, and the family is going to be content that the truth is going to come out about what happened to their daughter.
Okay. What would justice look like for the family?
I think justice looks like all the facts, them finding out how their daughter spent her last moments, specifically what happened and who's responsible for what happened to her, and whoever is responsible, obviously doing some time.
Now, and obviously right now, I mean, obviously in the film, in the video, there was one person that was fighting, at least, physically fighting with Shanquella. But we watched, anybody who's watched First 48 knows that if you are a co-conspirator or if you help someone cover it up, you can be, at least in America, you can be just as liable as the person who made the final blow. Do you know whether they're investigating multiple people or are they focused primarily on one person?
I think that they're going to have.
And yes, we definitely want to make sure that we actually are doing a great job with this. I see a lot of people doing a great job with this, Lawanda. We actually want to say brutally attacking, savagely attacking her, being the direct aggressor. We don't want to actually call it a fight, because a fight is usually two ways, two people going back and forth, being combative. This was actually an attack. Shanquella said she did not want to fight.
Have to speak to and take statements from everyone that was present and involved in the last hours of her life, including, and the medics, people who cleaned the room afterwards, all those people, because now it's a crime scene, because there's a criminal investigation going on. So I think everyone's going to have to be brought in and rounded up and have statements taken from everyone, and then culpability will kind of be decided.
And putting on your criminal, I know you're the advocate for the family, but putting on your criminal attorney hat, can you, there were a number of people who had questions regarding, is there a chance that America could bring charges against these potential defendants if Mexico won't, or if Mexico, basically if Mexico won't do it? Can you speak to how that would work and if there is that potential?
We have been talking about that, kind of kicking around the idea of, because there was a cell phone involved, obviously, because it was recorded. Could it be considered a federal crime and all of those things? But rest assured that, the feds are involved in terms of investigating, reviewing information, and having that information passed down to the authorities in Mexico. So to the extent that there is a federal law that was broken, the box is open and the feds are diligently working on that for now. And that's why it's so important for platforms like yours, which I super appreciate using your platform for this, and people on the internet, not necessarily to get caught up in the rumors, but to do exactly what Tamika Mallory has described on her Until Freedom page. Put pressure on the State Department to make sure that it doesn't get swept under the rug. Still keep talking about it in terms of, making sure that extradition happens, because that takes one government to agree with another government. And we've seen from Brittany Griner's case that can take a long time just for those conversations to happen, because it's involving two different political bodies.
Basically, she's saying, I do actually have Tamika Mallory's post Until Freedom. I actually have her action steps on the petition as well. That's change.org/Shanquella. I actually added her information because it's all about a united effort and collaboration. So I did add her steps onto my petition as well. So you can check it out. And it's like little purple pamphlets or cards that she made with action steps. And also I have some of those same numbers on the petition as well. And what I need everyone to do is I do send out emails for the petition. So once you sign a petition, you do get emails. And what I did was in the last email, I actually sent out emails for the FBI. I sent out the email address and phone number for the FBI Charlotte. I also sent out for Daniel De La Rosa Naya for Mexico, Victor Castro, the governor from the Baja California or Mexico. And I also sent out Ken Salazar, who is the U.S. ambassador for Mexico. And I also sent out the Department of Justice for the United States. So I sent out all of that in an email. I sent it out. So I need everyone to actually check that email or just go to the petition itself, go to updates. All you have to do is actually take all of those emails and you can send out I would actually send emails to the Mexican officials, like one, and then also send another one to the US officials, or you can just combine all into what I can do sometimes is actually take all if I have 6 people to email, I'll just put all of them into the email, like a group email, and then the same message that I'm sending to one, I'll send to all. And then there's sometimes where I'll do an individual email to where everyone gets their own separate email because I might have to be more specific on what I want to say. So for people that say, I don't want to send 10 people an email, I know you have sent group text. I know you have group chats. It doesn't take but a minute to actually send out a group email. I make it easy for you because I actually already have the emails. All you have to do is just write something up, type something up, and then send it. Okay. So she's suggesting the same thing I always suggest, was to apply pressure. And if you watch my video from yesterday, there was a former FBI agent. He also said the same thing, that it's good to keep applying pressure because when you apply pressure, you embarrass people, you embarrass governments, and then they want to try to fix the issue so they can quiet things down, pacify people, and keep things in order. So let me go ahead and finish this up. And yeah, so make sure y'all are taking action, because taking action applies pressure.
And, as I was thinking about this case, and particularly the issue of, if Mexico is not going to make sure that there's justice, will America, and how can we, pressure? Because obviously we can't control the Mexican government, and they could care less about social media, but obviously America does care. What came to mind is the case of, I believe it's Heather Mack. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but Heather is a biracial girl who was raised in, I believe it was Detroit, basically, so a Black child. She had a white mother. She goes over to Thailand. Her mom takes her on vacation. And while there, Heather and her boyfriend kill the mama. They kill the mother because she claims that the mother was abusive and a variety of things, but they kill the mother. However, in Thailand, she only gets 6 years. She serves 6 years in prison for the murder. And America, and then she gets back. She gets released, and while she's in prison over there in Thailand, she's posting videos to social media that really make the prison that she's in look like she's running the prison. So basically, it didn't look like it was much of a punishment. So as a result, when she gets back, America has an indictment for her. Federal courts charged her, and currently her attorney is actually fighting it, claiming that, one, she's already served for this. Yeah, double jeopardy, effectively. She's already served time for this. And the law does say you cannot be charged in America for an offense that you were already charged for in the other country. But currently, what the feds are doing and have done is they said, no, you served time for murder or manslaughter, whatever it was. We are charging you with conspiracy, because of the fact that she got to Thailand a day earlier and her boyfriend was still back home in Detroit, and they used a cell phone to communicate with each other to discuss basically how they were going to handle her mother. And so the feds were saying, because that was done on American soil, even though only he was in America, that's close enough. And they used the fact that it was conspiracy, as well as they're charging her with, I think it's accessory after the fact, because I guess they destroyed some things, and they talked about, obstruction of justice, I think it is, because they talked about, okay, this is what we're going to say, and this is what you shouldn't say.
Right.
So when I thought about that and how quick the feds were to charge her, and obviously the victim there was her mother, who was a very, very wealthy white woman. I think her mother left her $4 million when she died. I was very disappointed to see that, the State Department initially said, there's nothing to see here and we won't be involved, because clearly they can pick and choose when they feel that the victim is valuable enough, that they seem to pick and choose when to get involved. So, first I wanted to thank you for the work that you and your team are doing to bring attention to this, because I think what a lot of people may not realize is within the law, if you let one of these slide, it ends up devaluing all of us. It becomes like a standard, because they then see that, like, oh, well, in this similar case, it was a similar type of victim and it wasn't a big deal. We never brought charges, etc. So then they tend to devalue other people that look just like that. So particularly here, I wanted to know, what can we do? How can we?
Yeah, so that brings up a good point. This actually does set up a precedent of how things can be handled in the future. I bet you if an African-American woman or even a male, something happens in Cabo, I would say female right now, because a lot of times I would just say female right now. Okay. So I would say her name. So I'll say female. The African-American female is murdered or dies mysteriously in Mexico. I bet you they will, in Cabo, let me say Cabo, in Cabo, I bet they will be on top of it and try to make sure that they handle it better, because they know now that we will not tolerate an African-American female being killed in Mexico and let it slide, that we will seek justice for that person. We will email them, call them, apply pressure, and hold them accountable. So I'm sure that, especially in that area of Baja California Sur, that they have taken heed that this will happen if an African-American female is killed over there, whether it be by a Mexican or it can be by our own people or a Black person or whoever. We still will hold them accountable, right? So we definitely have set a precedent for anybody else in the future that they cannot sweep it under the rug and they actually have to take action on it. If they don't, then hey, they will be hearing from us, right? Like, hey, we are in America, but we still will hold y'all accountable no matter where. It could be Mexico or wherever else. We will come for y'all from wherever we are. Okay, let me go ahead and click on this.
Support the family. What do you need us to do? Give us a call to action, girl. What can we do?
Yeah, I think the call to action is to continue to put pressure on the State Department, calling the embassy, calling the senators to say, hey, listen, we want extradition. We want the person to be extradited. We want the Mexican authorities to be able to investigate this case. And you absolutely make a great point with Heather's case. The parties involved brought the clothes, brought her suitcase to her mom. So there's things that can be done. But I think it's just continuing to put pressure on the people who are making those decisions on whether or not charges will be filed, whether or not investigations will be had, in order to support the family. And I know the family has their own GoFundMe to kind of like, I'm assuming in the future they're going to have different expenses and things to do in relation to the investigation. So supporting them in that way that they've asked to be supported, but definitely continuing to, say her name and make sure that the case remains as a high profile case. Because a lot of times after it loses the news cycle, nobody kind of talks about it. Everybody definitely, kind of moves on to the next thing, because there's so many things, because, I consider this to be the most important work of our time. But we definitely can continue to put pressure on the proper authorities here to make sure that the investigation is done thoroughly.
Gotcha. And what's your way?
So that's always the goal and always the plan, is to keep someone's name alive, because when a victim is unalived, they can no longer speak for themselves. They can no longer seek justice for themselves. defend themselves or do anything. So they rely on people that are still living to be their voice, to be their advocate, to be their activist, to be their person that will speak up for them and demand justice for them, because they are no longer here to do it for themselves. And what I do know is that when the medical examiner described Shanquella's what she was experiencing in her last moments, where she could still hear what was going on around her, she could still see what was going on, but she could not speak. So in those last moments, she could not even speak and say anything in defense of herself or to speak or at all, right? And also it said that she could not move. She was 100% like paralyzed, so she couldn't even move her body. She could still feel certain things within her body and pain, but she could not move her body because she was experiencing paralysis. She was paralyzed. So we definitely have to be her voice, and we have to be her advocate. We have to be her activist. We have to keep her name alive. We have to just keep fighting for justice for her. And like I said, I sent out an email, and as I posted, Bossy Oat says, Dani provided all necessary information, including phone numbers and emails. All you have to do is call and email. Yes. And also, some people don't like making phone calls, so they would rather email. So that's fine. If you don't like the email, you can at least tweet. You can also go to Facebook. Sometimes these people have a Facebook, and then you can direct message. You can go on IG. You can tag people. But make sure you don't overly tag people on IG, because I've done that before, and I DM'd a lot of people on IG. I tagged a bunch of people when I was doing like a canceling of races that was on YouTube, right? And then my Instagram actually got disabled because I was using it too much to DM people, right? So just be careful on IG with that. So I would prefer people just to probably use Twitter or just email and then phone numbers, because emails are more direct, right? And then there are some people that actually like the hashtag or tweet on Twitter. So just anyways. And also one thing, a key to remember is also to support channels by just going to channels that actually are still speaking on Shanquella and supporting that channel. Just clicking the like button, showing support, or actually showing engagement in the videos. That actually keeps her name in the algorithm and still have her name spread as well. So that's the way y'all can also keep her name alive as well. Okay. So that's about it. The video actually pretty much goes into them just wrapping up and talking about meeting up and Ready to Love. And you can watch the last few minutes yourself. I posted the link. I already have another live on my other channel that I'm already late for. Yeah. I think I saw somebody with a birthday. Happy birthday. Let me scroll up so I can find it. So here's the link to her video, this video, so you can watch it uninterrupted without my commentary. Okay, so some people are not liking the lawyer that they have, and then some people do like the lawyer they have. Well, I didn't look at all the comments, but I see some people are not too happy about the one they have. Well, everyone will always have their own opinions. Okay. On whether they like someone or not, or what's going on or not. Okay, so hey, fine to be blonde. Hey, yeah, hit that like button on y'all way out. I'm out. I have to get off the slide. Yeah, okay, so that's important to remember, is that she doesn't seem to be privy to any information from that we don't know or we don't have access to. Well, basically, she has information from the family, what they all know, but she doesn't have any other information like from an official, like a government official or someone that will have insider knowledge of what has been found out or discovered. I saw someone with a birthday. Let me find you, because before I leave, I actually want to say happy birthday. Yes, keep on hashtagging Shanquella Robinson. And y'all, I cannot read all the comments this live because I actually have, I would say I double booked. So I actually have another live already in progress on my second channel. Hey, faithful servant. Let's see. Hey, Marie. Child, I was actually, I'm not even going to comment on that. I will say my comment because there's a saying: if you don't have nothing good to say, don't say nothing at all. So, zipping my lips, throw away the key. No comment. Oh, here it is. Kessler. Good morning, Dani. I'm getting ready to go. Today, my birthday. 56 and loving life. My daughter's birthday was yesterday. She's 36. I enjoy you so much. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoy my channel. And girl, you are so lucky. Your birthday is on a Friday. So I don't know if you turn up or not, but just go have fun and celebrate your birthday. I hope you have a great weekend, a happy birthday weekend. Enjoy your 56th birthday and live it up and be safe at the same time. So happy birthday. So y'all say happy birthday to Kessler. Drop some birthday balloons in the chat for Kessler's birthday. It's her 56th birthday. And happy belated birthday to your daughter at 36. Paula, Dani has been putting in work. Yeah, it's putting in work, Hunter, putting in work. And I actually need some sleep, y'all. I got to get some sleep. That's why I said after today, I actually need to get some rest this weekend. Everyone else that was on a bandwagon have jumped off. Well, I wouldn't say that everyone has jumped off. It's just that there's not really a lot of new information being put out. How it usually works on YouTube is that the news will update, make an update or do some sort of investigation or do some kind of interview. The news will, right? And then once the YouTubers see the news and the interviews that are done, then they will report on that information and give commentary on it. That's why you see a lot of videos that are saying commentary, because that's what YouTubers do. They give commentary. Like I did today. I gave commentary on this YouTuber's video. I gave commentary. I just posted like a little snippet of an article. That's giving commentary. Another side to things that the reason why I can continuously do videos is because I also do what the news does. And I didn't bring this up before, but it's true. I do what the news does is that I go out and I seek like an interview, or I seek like people that are involved. So people call that, to be honest, they do call that investigative reporting or investigative journalism, where you actually go out and you try to get interviews or you try to get additional information that's not already out there. So you're like a source of information. So I actually do what the news stations do, which is like investigative journalism. But don't spread this. I'm not calling myself an investigative journalist or investigative reporter. I'm saying that I am the type of person that goes out and gets my own information. I seek my own information. I do my own research on things. I talk to different people. So then now I'm not relying on the news to give me new information. I dig and find my own information. I'm a web sleuth. Okay, I'm a web sleuth. Yeah, so that's why I can continuously report on Shanquella, is because I go out and get my own information. I don't just, and then I also do commentary. So I can do commentary and I also can do investigative reporting on journalism, whatever you want to call it. And this is what's crazy. Let me bring this up because this is a great point that I wanted to bring up. When Joe Bruno, I don't know who all remember Joe Bruno, but Joe Bruno from the Charlotte, I forgot what media company he works for, but when he went knocking on doors of Cabo, the Cabo 6, he knocked on doors on this phone number list that was posted. Do I have that list? He knocked on doors. Well, I think I actually have his picture here. No, that's not him. Where is it? When he knocked on doors right here, like this one right here, this is on Dejanay Jackson's door. He saw this business card from Investigative Fry from Forsyth County on her door. He was using this phone number list, and when this phone number list when all of the guests came to Cabo Villas, that villa, they had to sign in and put their phone number. Some put their phone number, some did not. And then on the right-hand side is notes. Someone actually like sleuthed their addresses and posted their addresses. So Joe actually took this information and then he went around knocking on doors of these people to see if he can actually locate them, to question them, right? And then he also called the numbers. He was live doing this. He called the numbers and he knocked on doors. Now, when he does it, people say, oh, that's investigative journalism. Go, Joe, go, go, go. He does it. It's like, oh, that's cool. Investigative reporting, investigative journalism and all that, and give him brownie points and clap for him and yay, yay, yay. Now, if I go and knock on the Cabo 6 doors, if I call their phone numbers and then I'm black, so now I'm harassing people. When I do it, it's called harassment. When he does it, it's called go, go, go. Yeah, Joe, investigative reporting, investigative journalism. If he calls like even Craig Butler at his job to try to get him to interview and question him, that he's just an investigator, reporter, investigative journalist. When I do it, I'm the aggressive black female that's harassing people. There goes those tropes and stereotypes, right? So yeah, pay attention. Y'all pay attention to how this goes. When the news people do it, it's called investigative reporting. When black people do it, like such as myself, it's called harassment. Yeah, so pay attention to those key things. What's the difference between them doing certain things and me calling like the killer of someone to try to get an interview or get answers or something, and then someone else like a reporter doing it? What's the difference? I'll wait. Still waiting. Yeah, that's what I thought. No difference. So like I said, Joe Bruno, go watch that other video I made. He went knocking on doors. He called these numbers. He didn't, when he went to those houses, did he know who was going to be home? Some of those people live with their parents. He didn't care if the parents were home or who were home. He knocked on the door. He didn't care. And everybody was cheering him on. But let me call these numbers. When I called these numbers, I'm harassing them. But when he called it, everybody was cheering him on. They didn't call him harassment, right? So I pay attention to all these things. I surely do. Because every time someone black does something, it's like associated with something negative, harassment, aggression, and everything else. But when someone white does it, then it's something positive associated with it. So yeah, pay attention to that. Anyways, I'm out. I have to go to my other channel. So make sure that you're all still signing and sharing this petition. Change.org/Shanquella, change.org/Shanquella. And I really do appreciate all my Avengers, because this channel was founded on my Avengers from day one. Y'all are ride or die. And I love y'all to pieces. Very supportive people. So yeah, I'm a sword dropper from day one. And I'll, like, some people I really, really appreciate. So I definitely want to have like a subscriber day or something for especially my day ones. And also, of course, I also appreciate my new people, because some of my new people don't play either. They don't play about me either. So I get a lot of support from my new people as well. And also, let me go ahead and say thank you to the Cash App I got. Where was it? I definitely don't want to say who was it. Yeah, she been Indy. Thank you for the Cash App that you sent. I appreciate the support for my channel. And there was also someone that sent a super chat, and I'm sorry, I just skipped over it because I didn't see it. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Lotus. Yeah, I think it was Lotus. Lotus, you had sent me a super chat the other day, and I'm really sincerely apologize for overlooking it. Sometimes while I'm looking up, investigating things or looking and researching things, I don't really pay attention to the chat fully. So I did overlook it, but I do appreciate your super chat. So I hope you know that. Yeah. So, all right, y'all, I need to get to my other live because I'm late to it and I don't know who's over there waiting or if anybody's actually waiting, but I actually need to get to that live. And most likely I will have to push it till 2:15. Push it out for later, maybe an hour from now. I don't know. I'll see. I'm probably just gonna jump right over there. I don't know, but an hour from now will be best. Okay, let's see.
Website, where can we go to follow you and your firm and just know more about what you are working on?
Yeah, you can follow me on social media at Not Just a Lawyer on all social media platforms, SueAnnRobinson.com or FrontlineFirm.com.
Oh, and also just to wrap it up before we go, one of the other elements that some people had talked about or discussed was that I see one of the comments here that was talking about the discussion regarding bringing charges or not, is that oftentimes, like once there's a little bit of momentum that goes, people assume like, oh yeah, it's getting handled.
Right. She's gone.
But here, what department is it, or what division within our government is the one that would be in control over this?
The FBI and the U.S. State Department.
Okay. FBI and the State Department. And y'all, with the State Department, there's so much that goes on in the State Department that is, you know, vital to our lives. And it's really important that they have good representation in the State Department. So if you are a person who has interest in like any type of international affairs, I really encourage you guys to consider employment with them. That's actually where you can become employed as a diplomat. So I have a friend of a friend who's a diplomat, African-American, went to FAMU, I believe. Yes. And she's a diplomat through the State Department. And one of the things that she does is literally, she gets assigned to a different country. She lives there, and it is her job to get paid from our government to just help other countries like America or want to do business. Well, more specifically, want to do business with America. They pay really, really well. They give you housing and all of this stuff. But it also just internationally, it lets people understand that there are Black people around the world in these high positions of leadership, and that we have so much to offer. So it is particularly important for this case and cases like them that there are people in high positions who have the ability to give us what we want effectively.
Absolutely. And definitely go to Until Freedom IG, Tamika Mallory's page. She has like very specific people to at. If you're doing posts about the case, who to at and who to call, the phone number specifically, who to call. So definitely do that for sure.
Absolutely. Because if Mexico plays around, girl, we're getting some federal charges because the feds know how to charge people with anything. Hell, they even got the Chrisleys. You know, the Chrisley family, they were like the white Cosbys of reality shows.
Right.
The Chrisleys, you can get anyone. And also they had to, you know, once they came, the defendants here or the other friends, once they came home, they were colluding. They were, you know, trying to get their story straight. I mean, from whether it's an obstruction of justice charge or what have you. One, if they talk, I don't know if they've talked to the feds yet, but I'm sure they've lied. It's actually a federal offense to lie to a federal agent. Whereas if it's a state charge in most states, that's not necessarily a crime, correct? Just
lying to a police officer?
Yes. Not when you're not under oath.
Oh, okay.
I mean, just like if they come, you know, if they say, come on down, I want you to come downtown and we're going to interview you. In a lot of states, if you don't tell the truth in there, it's going to bite you other ways, but it's not considered.
Right. But you're saying specifically there's a statute against lying to federal authorities.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Perfect. That's why Trump refused to talk to them. Yeah.
Well, you know, 45, you know, he's a whole other set of bag of worms.
Oh, yes. We could talk about him all day, but I digress. But I really appreciate you, Sue-Ann. Okay, so I have to have you back for our girls chat. I'm doing a weekly girls chat where I have other.
So yeah, just adding on, like I said before, that's like a current theme. A lot of the message that people are trying to drive home and send home is applying pressure. And that's not for everybody. And I know it's not for everybody because some people are the type that says, just don't email, don't call, don't do any of this. That's your prerogative. That's your opinion. Me, I am the person, everyone knows, if you know me on my channel, I am about applying pressure and getting things done and getting people fired or whatever else, whatever I can do to get some type of justice. It can be small or big. I'm definitely for it. So it can be small right now, getting people fired. It could be big later on, of course, of applying pressure to get someone arrested. So any form of justice, small or big, I'm here for it because we have to be the victim's voice and we have to be the one that fights for them because they're no longer here to fight for themselves. The petition should go to those offices to show over 35,000 people who want action. Yeah, that's true. And that's what I actually email people. When I email people, I tell them that this is a petition with 35,000 signatures. I actually send a link. But yeah, it can also be sent as a PDF file or Excel sheet with the signatures as well. And trust me, they actually do get these the emails, and whenever someone signs a petition, they actually get sent out to whoever I have listed. If you actually go to the petition, do I have it up right now? At one point there were more people, but as we slowly got people fired, there's less people on here, but I'm sure I'm going to add more names. But if you actually look right here, it says Danielle Robertson started this petition to LPI Charlotte and 9 others. So there's 10 emails I have specifically on here that when people sign a petition, it goes to these 10 people. It goes to the LPI Charlotte email and then 9 others. So they are getting these emails when y'all sign the petitions, when people sign it, okay? So that's a lot of emails. And trust me, people get sick of these emails. They are like, oh, I'm sick of getting these emails. I'm sick of getting emails. Well, I don't care, okay? But at one time, if you actually look before, it was like 21 started this petition to like LPI Charlotte, like it was like 20 something emails. And the reason it was 20 something is because it had like Blue Rhino, different jobs and emails and everything else. But once the doctor was not working anymore, Dejanay wasn't working anymore, Elise wasn't working anymore, I was able to take some emails off. So now we're down to 10. But I actually have some more I actually want to add onto the list. Now, these people are not just the only ones that get emails. If you actually go to, you scroll down here, I actually have some more email addresses for people. And like one I have LPR Charlotte right there, that's an email address, but I also have one specifically goes directly to the spokesperson who you see in all the media articles that gives updates. And remember this, in order for her to give an update, Sylvia to give updates, she has to be able to keep up with the case. They have to keep her updated on the case. So definitely, that's definitely a contact, right? And she does reply to that email because I sent her something and she replied to me and it was fast, right? Governor Roy Cooper, I haven't found an exact email for him. Well, actually, you know what I did? But let me tell you, I'm not supposed to do this. Well, I'm not going to say that because I have haters and enemies. I'm not going to say it. But let's just say his email has been added, okay? But I won't really say anything further. But if you actually look right here, it says online contact form. Click here to email the governor. So it actually takes you to the online contact form for him. But I also added him to the one of the 10 people. So he is getting emails now. Ooh. But I'm not going to go any further because I have people that try to sabotage what I try to do. Yeah, so if you actually scroll down, I actually have another email for the DOJ, that email address and phone number as well. And where's the one for Sylvia? Do I have? Yeah. I said Sylvia. Oh, my gosh. Shelly, my bad. Media coordinator, public affairs specialist, Shelly Lynch. So scratch out Sylvia. I don't know where my mind was. So Shelly Lynch is the one you actually will look. If you Google Shelly Lynch and Shanquella, a lot of articles will pop up because she's like the spokesperson, media coordinator, right? So she does answer that email and that is her email address. But obviously make sure you're just sending professional emails. When I mean by professional, I mean don't be going crazy sending stuff to the FBI. I'm not responsible for your nut crazy self sending anything crazy, obviously to the FBI, but I'm sure y'all know that. But I'm just giving the disclaimer because some people might be cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. When you're emailing, that's at your own risk. And don't be sending crazy emails to any government officials. That should be self-explanatory. All right, y'all, have a great day. I know people are mad at me at my other channel right now because I'm sure some people might be waiting. Yeah, so have a great day. I have to get off here. Hey, D-Rusher. So y'all, some people have to actually catch the replay. Leslie, you are the best. I love you. We need to get Donovan fired. Her mom made me sick. Yeah, I'm going to be looking at some stuff for the weekend, but I'm probably going to take Saturday to just enjoy family in my life. And then Sunday, I actually probably will dig for some information on that, and then I'll be ready for Monday. Today is kind of like busy. I only have a few more hours left in the business hours to get anything accomplished. That's right. They can run, but cannot hide. You can run, but you can't hide. Yeah, there's still time to hit the like button, so go ahead and hit the like button. Well, there's a few other YouTubers as well that are still like getting information, and I really don't have time to name them all, but I probably can add them to the description box. There are some other channels that are getting information as well. Yeah, we have to keep in mind this united effort. Everyone is kind of like doing their part, and like even when people just do commentary, it still keeps her name alive and active. So even for people that don't just get their own information or seek their own like investigative work, just giving commentary on existing information or even commentary. There are some people that actually give commentary on what I do. So it's all like a united effort working together, keeping it all going, keep her name active. So sometimes I am the source of information for some people, and that's fine because that's what my goal is, to be a source. And sometimes I post things and I know that I'll be a source of information. It's all about getting justice for Shanquella, and information can be shared and spread, right? Oh yeah, thank y'all. I love y'all too. All right, so y'all just so everybody just go to my second channel because I'm already late. Go to my second channel. I'm doing justice for Jalen Lewis, so go to my second channel. Yes, Hunty. Yes, he was very messy, hunting, very messy. So yeah, you know I like Joe Bruno, right? He's my speed, definitely. He was kind of messy showing the house number, but I think it was done purposely. Yeah, he did that on purpose. He's messy. I like Joe Bruno. Yeah, y'all know I like Joe Bruno. He was calling those numbers. He was like real serious about calling those numbers, knocking on doors. Y'all, I love that. That's my speed right there. Up my speed, up my alley. They should have been detained when they saw the crime scene. Exactly. You even worked while you were ill. That is commendable, child. That's like a blessing and a curse. A blessing is that I can get a lot of things done. The curse is that sometimes I don't really have a lot of time for myself because I just hey Dani, I came in late. Keep up the good work. I'm gonna still say no comment. No comment. Exactly. You get the email, so everyone gets those emails. They have no excuse for not having the information to be able to email or call people. Yes, please hit the like button as you exit. Yeah, that really sucks that a family has to pay. But that's how it is. Everything boils down to money at the end of the day. Yes, thanks for everyone joining us. Okay, I'm gonna read 2 more comments and then I'm out. Hey D Rusher. Okay, Easy Rider, you're gonna have to catch the replay. We're out. And oh yes, trust me. I know. Dana, please make sure you get plenty of rest because this can be draining emotionally and physically. Yes, it is. But to me, there's always something that needs to be done. It's always one more thing, and then the cycle repeats. And I think like the day before, I think I was up for like 31 hours before I even got any rest. I was up for like 31 hours. And then someone was like, you keep on saying a million times. I could barely keep my eyes open. I could barely like function. I was like not even all together, right? So that's when I was like a mess. Yes, please take some time for yourself. Enjoy this weekend. Definitely. All right, y'all. I will see y'all on the next channel. I promise. After I do this next live for Jalen Lewis, I will take a break. You are the best. I love you. We need to get done and fire. Okay, I already read that. All right, y'all. Bye. Hit that like button on your way out.